You clicked this video because, like me, you are an overthinker. In this video, you're gonna learn practical steps, 3 of them, in order to stop overthinking and have a calm and confident mind. First, I'm gonna explain to you what overthinking actually is, and then I'm gonna follow up with the 3 tips that you can use and examples for each as well. So what is overthinking? Overthinking is when we have these continual ruminating thoughts in our minds that are actually not productive and they're repetitive as well. And those are the important things. They're not productive. It might feel like we're making progress, but in reality, we're actually just repetitively thinking the same thing. This can cause you to emotionally drain and also use a lot of cognitive resources, so you actually end up feeling fatigued mentally and also maybe in your body as well. For example, let's say you had a conversation with a friend or a partner and it didn't really go the way that you wanted it to. And then you go home and you think, maybe I should have said this, or maybe they're mad at me, and they don't text you for a day or 2 and you're stressing and keep thinking about these things. And then the next day they're like, hey, do you wanna go for coffee, or do you wanna go for a walk? And you're like, what? Because in your mind, there was this huge thing brewing, but in reality, there was actually really nothing there. That's an example of overthinking. And if you don't figure out how to control this type of thing, you'll waste a ton of time and you just won't be able to move through life more effortlessly. The first one is called the 5-3-1 technique. When you're overthinking, you're really not in the present, right? You're either in the past and you're kind of depressed about something that had happened. You're thinking about, like, for instance, the text message example from earlier, or you're in the future and you're trying to really control, for instance, how people perceive you at a social gathering. Oh, how am I looking? Or you're stressed about a presentation that's coming up. But either way, you're not in the present. See, because when you're in the present moment and you're just in that flow state, overthinking will just disappear. Overthinking exists in the past and the future. And if you want to get control of overthinking, you need to get to the present moment more. So how do we get to the present moment is the question. When you're overthinking, think about 5 things that you can see in your environment and just name them in your head, right? Then think about 3 things that you could touch that's really, really close to you. And you can even touch them if you want, if you're by yourself. And then think of 1 thing that you can hear in your environment, right? And this might sound really silly when I'm saying it, but what it's trying to do is it's trying to get you back into the present moment. And it's associated with mindfulness, with being really present with your body and being able to touch things and see things to get you out of that thinking brain. The second technique is called the worry tree. And this one's best not necessarily in social gatherings or when you're out and about, but this is about something that you're overthinking for a long time. Maybe it's something about your physical appearance, maybe it's something about your finances or your life that you're kind of upset with. You're gonna create what's called a worry tree, okay? And it's very, very simple, right? The first thing that you're gonna say is, do I have control over this situation, right? Is that yes or no? If it's no, then you need to just detach from that experience and not worry about it at all, right? And if it's yes, then okay, let's write down an action plan for that, right? What are the steps, who, what, where, when, to get over this worry that I'm thinking about? Really write it down, because don't just think about these things. You need to write it down in order to calm down your nervous system. So once you have the plan, you're gonna say, okay, well, can I do it now or later, right? And if it's later, make sure you schedule it, put it in your schedule, whether that's a calendar on your phone or something on your calendar on your wall. And if you can do it right now, then just get to it. And trust me, you'll stop worrying and overthinking really quickly as soon as you write things down. All right, the last one I think is the most powerful, and I feel like I could create almost a whole video on this alone, but it's to use visualization in order to avoid overthinking things. So what you're gonna do, and this is what I've done in the past, is whenever I'm stressed about something, let's say I have a presentation for class in the future, or I have a big soccer game, the night before, or even right before, just visualize yourself doing it, right? What does it look like, right? How do you feel up there, right? Let's think with a presentation. Visualize yourself up there, right? Visualize yourself being able to look at everyone, right? How do you look? How's your posture, right? How's your communication? Do all this visualization stuff the night before or even the week before, and just get used. It's almost like doing mental reps. So by the time you're actually there, you've almost programmed your brain for success, right? It's not the first time it's actually seen this, because you've been doing this visualization day after day. And this is gonna make the overthinking or the stress or whatever it is a lot easier to deal with once you actually come around to that event. I still remember I literally did this for the first time, I think when I was like maybe 23 or something. I played soccer my whole life, so sorry if I always give soccer examples. But I had a big game the next day and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna try this visualization technique. We'll just give it a go. And I remember I literally visualized myself being in the middle and then this guy on my team cutting across and just playing this low ball that I was just gonna score. And this time I wasn't gonna use my right foot. I was gonna use my left, which was the correct one to use, even though it was my weak foot. And I visualized this the night before, and I swear, the next day, I scored an exact goal like that. And it almost felt magical. I literally dreamt up the exact goal before it happened. And that's the power of this visualization, is it pre-programs your neurological system to be ready to succeed in that way when the moment comes up. And it's almost at a subconscious level. So this is the most powerful technique of the three. And I hope you enjoyed this video on overthinking. I hope these techniques help you like they've helped me. And subscribe if you feel like this added some value. I'll see you next time.